Hi, welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, the cost of doing business expected to go up following utility tariff hikes, which took effect today. The Ghana Hotels Association is warning of potential collapse of businesses. Will speak to the president. Also coming up, Deputy Minister of Finance Abnor Sasar appeals to pensioner bondholders to cease picketing as she requests a meeting to address payment problems.
Let's give ourselves tomorrow to have that meeting that you said you wrote to us, but we failed to respond. Let's give ourselves that opportunity to have that meeting. And then I believe that from Monday, you would see some payments being refunded.
Also ahead, the Ghana Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, GESL, calls for review of fertilizer subsidy program introduced by government under the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative.
If you look at the cash subsidy that is paid at the 15% subsidy rate, which is about 32.5 cedis, I mean, it's almost at parity.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Details coming up. All right, thanks for staying with us, everyone. The cost of doing business is expected to go up once again following utility tariff hikes, which took effect today. Water and electricity tariffs are up by 18% per unit. Now, some businesses have complained that this could further worsen their plight as they are already struggling with high taxes and inflation. Some hotels have indicated that these hikes could lead to the collapse of the operations. Dr. Edward Akanyamike Jr. is president of the Ghana Hotels Association. He joins us on Zoom. Good afternoon to you. So, is the concern about the potential collapse of hotels an exaggeration? How significantly would these hikes impact on businesses?
Daryl, thanks so much for the opportunity once again. Probably to say the industry will collapse maybe to extreme, but what we're trying to drive home is the fact that it will certainly affect the business significantly. And we are looking at it against the events of the past few months in relation to utilities. As we speak, the PURC is yet to resolve the astronomical increase that it places in for the 1st February upward adjustment of 167%. And from the information I'm getting, it doesn't look like it's something that they want to resolve. Now, when you get to electricity too, that one, there are no issues with that astronomical increase. But of course, since September last year, there's been that upward adjustment periodically. What it means is that, like you rightly said in your intro, the cost of doing business is going to go high. Now, it simply means that the rates that we keep complaining about, which are clients and customers, both domestic and internationally, keep complaining about, is still going to go high. And that certainly is also going to affect patronage. And that is where our concern is. We will, unfortunately, we will have no choice but to get our customers to also share in that increment that has been announced, because otherwise they will price ourselves out of business. So that is the situation.
Well, under an IMF deal, we are being told to expect more tariff hikes. It means businesses like yours should be strategic to absorb the costs to your operations. Have you thought about how you're going to navigate that?
Yeah, we keep thinking about it, and we are also aware that we are also aware of where we find ourselves as a country. and we are also part of the business community. So certainly, we know that these challenges are going to be with us for some time before it gets better. Now, the only thing what are the options? Because when it comes to electricity, I think I mentioned it on this platform that we tried to get into solar because we're given the impression that it was cheaper. And also because we're also told that we could sell the excess power generated back to the grid, which was a policy of the Energy Commission. But unfortunately, that policy has been stopped. And so it's becoming more and more difficult for the hotels or even other businesses to venture into that solar energy because of the high cost, the high initial cost. So the options that we have are even becoming a challenge. Some people talk about boreholes and all that, but there are certain areas who cannot have that luxury of getting a borehole, not to talk about some of the conditions around it, because I understand that as a business entity, you don't even have the right to just get up and start digging boreholes. You have to get the right clearance to do that. Okay, certainly we can go into energy savers and ensure that our staff and also appeal to our customers to be mindful of these consumption of utilities. But how far will that go? So at the end of the day, it is the cost of doing the business which is going to go high, and again, it will affect our patronage. And let me chip in this. You see, today is more like an anti-climax to that very productive and fruitful presidential summit on tourism, which was held at the previous lodge on 30th and 31st. It was ended yesterday. The president was there on the first day. Very productive encounter and discussions. But you see, at the end of the day, and we all appreciate what tourism can do to this country, what hospitality can do to this country. But these are some of the challenges that is going to draw us back. And frankly,
I was going to raise that point because you had the summit on tourism, and then we have situations like this. I know currently Ghana is considered as one of the countries with the most expensive hospitality rates on the continent, and so I'm just wondering, doesn't this defeat the purpose of making Ghana the top tourist destination on the continent, for instance?
Exactly, Daryl. And you see, the aspect of all this that I try to appreciate or try to understand without any success is that it's like the authorities, and I'm talking about the PRC, probably the government or the ministers, appear like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. We'll have to pay full cost, so let's get it on. Let's pay full cost. But we haven't been given that critical analysis of the adjustment of the rates in a manner that do not hurt industry too much. But at the same time, bring in revenue that also generates tax. We haven't had that clear analysis. So it's like, okay, the tariffs will have to be increased. But how is it affecting industry, especially for this sector, which, from all indications, has so much to offer the country? And that's the dilemma, as you rightly put it. Okay, so I don't know. Probably from the summit, maybe the powers that be will sit down again and look at all the issues surrounding the business, because it's not only utility tariffs. There are all other a lot of other costs that is impacting negatively on our business. And we may think that the hotels are there, they keep surviving. But a lot of hotels are mounting serious debt that will one day come back to haunt us and to also haunt the economy. And that's the fear that we are entertaining now.
I know that recently you've had to write to the PURC to investigate exorbitant water charges. Any news on that front?
Unfortunately, no. You know, we managed to get the PURC to sit down with us on 31st March. And then they wrote a letter after the meeting. In fact, as an outcome of the meeting, they wrote to inform us that they had made a mistake in the categorization. Okay, so we were supposed to be in non-residential. They had made a mistake and put us in commercial, which is why they gave us that tariff of 30. Only for, so from 1st February to now, we've been waiting for the Ghana Water Company to adjust our tariff, because that was part of the directive from PURC to the Ghana Water Company. But as we speak, it has not been done. And so you have hotel bills on water giving very high payments. Okay, and there seems to be some gap in communication between the PURC and Ghana Water Company, because they are on the ground disconnecting hotels. Meanwhile, PURC says, we've made this mistake, it will be adjusted, so do not disconnect hotels so long as they pay on account, so long as they pay something reasonable on account. I think it's the definition of the reasonable that we are not clear with it, so Ghana Water Company staff are out there disconnecting hotels because they haven't paid that astronomical 167% increase, which the PURC has accepted is a mistake. Meanwhile, they are yet to tell us the exact tariff that they approved against the 167 since that came out. Last week, we sent a letter to them reminding them of the directive that they gave to the Ghana Water Company. And also with the fact that the new tariff is starting from today. So what is the position? We are yet to hear from them. And so, Daryl, we are in more of a confused state.
All right, just 1 minute, one more minute. On a positive note, though, the president Sunday announced the lifting of all COVID-19 border restrictions. How upbeat are you about that, about the impact on the hospitality industry?
Daryl, let me be frank and honest with you. Business has been good in terms of patronage. And I'm sure most hotels, apart from our brothers and sisters in those areas where we call them funeral hotels, and the reason being that you only get clients when there are funerals or other major events. Apart from that, business has been quite good. But the point is that the high cost of operation is eroding that positive impact on patronage or occupancy that we are experiencing. And so total work done is getting close to zero.
Wow. Edward Akanyamika Jr., President of the Ghana Hotels Association, always a pleasure to talk to you. I appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much. Well, let's move on now. Deputy Finance Minister Apnao Asari has appealed to pensioner bondholders to cease picketing as she requests for a meeting on Tuesday to address payment problems. She made the appeal as she met the pensioner bondholders who have resumed their pickets this morning. Now, according to the bondholders, government still owes them 5 coupons and 4 principals in arrears. We can listen to the minister in a conversation with the bondholders at the Finance Ministry.
We all know what is happening. So when we meet here today, we are meeting tomorrow. Monday, we won't come. Tuesday, we won't come. Wednesday, we won't come, to give you the opportunity to start paying me. If by Wednesday we have seen that you have started paying, we won't come on the Thursday. But if by Wednesday evening we haven't seen any alert system working, then Thursday we are coming here. So today we'll be here, tomorrow we'll be here because we haven't seen anything. We will give you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to initiate the payment. Once we see that the payment have started flowing in, we would not come here on the Thursday because until we see something. That is it. That's the decision we have taken, that until we see payment, nothing will move us from here. That one, because we have done it. We have moved from here based on these promises and it's not coming. But so now we give you that time. Within the week, every Monday, a coupon or two may mature, depending on the days. Last Monday, there were 2 coupons. The previous Monday, there was 1 coupon. You don't know. Some days 1, some days 2, depending on the. So if the coupon matures on Monday, due on Monday, we won't stock. We will think that if government want to pay, the instructions will be given and something will be done that Monday. If it wasn't done, Tuesday we'll see a sign. If it wasn't done, Wednesday we'll see a sign. If Wednesday we haven't seen a sign, then we take it that government is unable to pay, and then we come here on the Thursday. So that room is there for you. So today and tomorrow we are here. Monday we will give you the opportunity to pay, to start paying the 15, it will be 6. I don't know what will happen Monday. We are yet to compute what will be due on Monday. Assuming it is even only 1 coupon, it will be 6 on Monday, coming Monday. If we see that action has started on the payment, by Wednesday we have seen some actions, we won't come here on the Thursday. The next week, if actions are doing it, we will also come here. Before I realize, there will be no gathering here.
Let's meet tomorrow, discuss this and look at the long-term payment for the principal. So I would plead that tomorrow you don't come whilst we meet with you and see how best we can look at things. My father here is shaking his head. But as I speak to you, yesterday we collected, or we were given the coupons that were outstanding that we needed to pay, and then we are in talks with Bank of Ghana. And so I would ask that let's give ourselves tomorrow to have that meeting that you said you wrote to us but we failed to respond. Let's give ourselves that opportunity to have that meeting, and then I believe that from Monday you would see some payments being reflected for the coupons.
All right, let's move on to other stories. The Ghana Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, GESAL, is calling for a review of the fertilizer subsidy program introduced by the government under the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative in 2017. GESAL, in its assessment, indicated that the initiative was bedeviled with smuggling cases, which has resulted in the hikes in prices of food currently. Speaking to Joy Business, Chief Operations Officer for GESAL, Techi Saha, pushed for more robust monitoring system to support the program.
Of government providing cash subsidy, we should look at income subsidies, and we did analysis of the fertilizer price buildup, cost of fertilizer delivered to the retail point. Cost, for example, the port charges, logistic and transport costs, and even the cost that the ministry paid for the branded PFJ bag is taken out. You can save about 33 cedis per 25 kg bag, which, if you look at the cash subsidy that is paid at the 15% subsidy rate, which is about 32.5 cedis. I mean, it's almost at parity. So if government is not paying that cash, but allowing the companies to benefit from these waivers, then you allow them, instead of giving quota, okay, those who want to be part of the fertilizer subsidy program, we're going to waive this.
All right, Chief Operations Officer for GESAL, Techi Saha there. Let's speak to Anthony Morrison, who is Chief Executive of the Agribusiness Chamber, on phone on this subject. We know that the new Minister of Agri has suspended the fertilizer subsidy program under the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative for potentially a review, I believe. And so What would a review look like? I mean, what would you suggest? First of all, do you even support calls for a review?
Well, thank you very much, Darrell. I think that the call for a review has been something on the table for the past 6 years. In that, for instance, the Chamber of Agribusiness called for this in 2017 after the initial rollout of the PFJ. We made this call due to the fact that as a country, we do not have accurate data. And PFJ was running on the table, not running in a repository, in a digital repository, to know the volumes that are moving for specific commodities with corresponding yields that are coming on board. So there were a lot of inaccuracies in terms of the data that were being shown out. And also there were a lot of inaccuracies with regards to the actual seats that were required for PFJ and the corresponding yields that we were expected to get back from the farms, plus or minus the good agricultural practices or the modern agricultural practices. We also realized that in terms of the fertilizer consumption, the figures have been, going up, fluctuating. Sometimes it goes as far as 630,000 metric tons. It comes down to 300,000+ metric tons. Now, short of this is that as a country, here we are, we need to separate production for food security purposes and the production for export. And this is where the chamber was coming in, that we cannot give incentives or subsidies for produce that are produced in Ghana for our farmers, only to see them being exported at the expense of the taxpayer. So government should build a database of farmers that would benefit from these subsidies. And when they do, none of these subsidies should be exported. I mean, the produce of these subsidies should be exported. And government should at the same time build a database of all those who intend to produce for the purpose of export. This is to make sure that there are no shortfalls in the national consumption figures for each of these commodities. But, as you have seen, this was a political project that was being run. People who shouldn't get access to these subsidies were getting access to it. So the project flopped. Fast forward, we're looking at a new project which is being referred to as an enhanced PFJ. Our key proposal here is that it must be anchored on a very strong data repository, digital data repository. 2, government must guarantee markets, i.e. The warehouses, i.e. the government buffer stock must be streamlined. In fact, that agency requires a complete overhaul, a serious audit before we can even begin to give them produce, because they owe a lot of companies. So we need, if you don't, the whole thing about agriculture is market guarantee. So even if the end users, the farmers, the last mile interaction between the input dealers and the farmers is not well meted, what's going to happen is that at the end of the day, we will see fertilizers being taken out to Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and what have you. So we just need to make sure that we bridge this gap with digital technology. And that's what we need to do. At the end of the day, if this is done, we will begin to see the rippling effect. Now, finally, when you go to the borders, the Tonlon region, Tisala, West Tisala East, where the bulk of the commodities comes from, we need to actually validate all these warehouses outside the borders of Ghana, because that is where majority of the commodities are kept and later brought in and sold at a very exorbitant price.
I hear you on that. I just also want to quickly ask you about another story that is making the headlines on the agri front, which has to do with the Supreme Court dismissing a case against regulation of plant breeders. Your reaction to that?
Well, I think that we all have to appreciate the need for scientific innovation and research in agricultural development. We can't do without research and development, and science is the base of any research. So as far as somebody has been able to school to become a plant breeder or a plant scientist and comes out to a seed that will benefit farmers, we must be ready to pay for it. Intellectual property comes in. Even the cars that we drive, the phones we use, the iPhones, the Samsungs, there are intellectual property cost components of it. So if it happens that, yes, for the purpose of the viability and productivity and increase in yields while fighting diseases our farms to be disease tolerant and all that, then we need to pay the scientists the right amount of money for using their intellectual property. So I think that the case is good. It was good that the knowledgeable justices at the Supreme Court, strike this out. But in the same vein, science and technology must also not frown on or must also not force certain technologies on the farmers. We have our traditional knowledge already, okay, the African traditional agricultural knowledge that we already have. They must all go hand in hand, because it's not everything about science also that is perfect. We have to borrow some pre-existing knowledge to also make the science work perfectly.
All right. I appreciate your time with us, Chief Executive of the Agribusiness Chamber, Anthony Morrison. In reaction to that, the Peasant Farmers Association has said this ruling is subjecting farmers to control. Well, that's the marketplace. Everyone, thanks for watching. You can get more news on our website, nigeriaonline.com/business. Our top story there, some OMC start increasing fuel prices. Goil selling a litre of petrol diesel for 12 cedis 45 pesos. Also, banking sector faces rising risk to asset quality, capital buffers. That's according to a report. You can read more about that on myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Carl. Thanks for watching The Marketplace. We will be back same time tomorrow.